Hello friends, in this video we will see the tax structure in India. How tax structure works in India, what are the characteristics of tax structure in India, what are its limitations, that also we will see. What are the tax reforms suggested, we will also see those tax reforms also. And in this way, in this lecture we will talk about tax structure in India. Whatever points uh, we will cover here, you will uh, try to understand all of the points. I'll try to make it clear to all of you. Students, in this slide we will see the characteristics of India's tax structure. Different characteristics, one by one we will see what are the different characteristics of India tax structure, how it works, what are the basic features of India's tax structure. Let's see one by one. The first one is the scientific division of tax powers. In the Constitution of India itself, there is clear cut and scientific division of tax powers are given. There is a This tax powers have been divided into different uh, among different segments of the government. Like you have different taxes given for union government, you have different taxes given for state government, you have different taxes specified for the local government. So there is a scientific division of tax powers. So each and every segment of government can be can uh, enjoy the independent powers and can function without depending on others. Like state government should not depend for financial resources on the central government. So this is the clear cut division of power, and this is the basic characteristics of federal system. Okay, so the first one is scientific division of tax powers between different segments of the government, like like union government, state governments, and local governments. The second point is multiplicity of tax structure. Multiplicity of structure means there are multiple kinds of taxes in the system. You have direct taxes, you also have indirect taxes in India. You have union taxes, you have state taxes, you have local taxes. So in this way you can have multiple taxes in India. ओके, तो ये दो जो मेन दो फर्स्ट फीचर्स हैं, फर्स्ट और सेकंड, वो हम देखेंगे कि देर इज अ साइंटिफिक डिवीजन है टैक्स पावर्स का। अलग अलग जो गवर्नमेंट के जो पार्ट्स हैं, जैसे कि केंद्र सरकार है, राज्य सरकार है, स्थानिक सरकार है, उन सबके बीच में क्या है, साइंटिफिक डिवीजन है टैक्स पावर्स का। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में ही इसका डिवीजन दिया गया है, क्योंकि फेडरलिज्म हमने अपनाया है हमारे स्टेट के लिए। हमारी गवर्नमेंट जो है फेडरल टाइप की गवर्नमेंट है। यूनियन गवर्नमेंट के पावर अलग है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के पावर अलग हैं, और लोकल गवर्नमेंट के पावर अलग हैं। तो इसी के लिए डिवाइड किए गए हैं टैक्स पावर्स को भी। उसी तरीके से टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर में मल्टीप्लिसिटी है। इसका मतलब क्या है कि जैसे अलग अलग प्रकार के टैक्स हैं, कितने डायरेक्ट टैक्स है, कितने इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स है, इसी तरीके से यूनियन टैक्सेस अलग है, स्टेट टैक्सेस अलग है, और लोकल टैक्सेस अलग है। ठीक है, तो इसका रीज़न क्या है कि हमें स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को या लोकल गवर्नमेंट को किसी पे डिपेंड ना रहना पड़े, यूनियन गवर्नमेंट पे जैसा है। अनदर पॉइंट इज लार्जर शेयर ऑफ इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस। इसका क्या मतलब है कि व्हाट वी see that indirect taxes are having larger share in total tax revenue. टोटल टैक्स रेवेन्यू में जो लार्जर शेयर है वो है इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस का, ठीक है, दिस इज वेरी क्लियर। एंड what in government of India is doing, government of India is trying to increase the share of direct taxes in total tax revenue, because generally indirect taxes are generally regressive in nature। इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस का ज़्यादा शेयर नहीं होना चाहिए, लेकिन हमारे यहाँ पे क्या है, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस का ज़्यादा शेयर है, ओके। बट दिस इज वन ऑफ द फीचर ऑफ इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम। इनसफिशिएंट टैक्स रेवेन्यू, दिस इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द फीचर दैट हमारी जो टैक्स रेवेन्यू है दैट इज इनसफिशिएंट। टैक्स रेवेन्यू एंड टैक्स एक्सपेंडिचर, एक तरफ टैक्स रेवेन्यू होता है, एक तरफ एक्सपेंडिचर होता है। तो हमारा जो टैक्स रेवेन्यू है दैट इज नॉट एबल टू फुलफिल गवर्नमेंट्स एक्सपेंडिचर। गवर्नमेंट का एक्सपेंडिचर होता है, उसे फुलफिल करने की कैपेसिटी होनी चाहिए टैक्स रेवेन्यू में। टैक्स रेवेन्यू इतना आना चाहिए कि गवर्नमेंट का खर्चा उससे चल जाए, लेकिन डे टू डे खर्चा भी जो गवर्नमेंट का है वो टैक्स रेवेन्यू से नहीं चल पाता है। गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर इज नॉट फुलफिल्ड, और टैक्स रेवेन्यू इज नॉट सफिशिएंट टू फुलफिल इट्स डे टू डे एक्सपेंडिचर। तो दिस इज व्हाट, ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक को हम क्या बोलेंगे, इस फीचर को इनसफिशिएंट टैक्स रेवेन्यू। द फिफ्थ फीचर इज ग्रेटर इंपॉर्टेंस टू स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इन फेडरल फिस्कल सिस्टम। ठीक है, यहाँ पे आप ये समझ सकते हो कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट जो है उसे फेडरल फिस्कल सिस्टम में काफी इंपॉर्टेंस दिया गया है। दैट इज वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर ऑफ इंडियन टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर। ठीक है, जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को हम इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं, उसके जो देर इज अ डिवीजन ऑफ टैक्स पावर्स और उन्हें इंडिपेंडेंस होती है फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज में, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर ऑफ इंडिया टैक्स सिस्टम। The another point is incidence of taxation. Incidence of taxation means what? Incidence of taxation means there is a different, uh, you can understand that is a for direct taxes the incidence of taxation is different, and for indirect taxes the incidence of taxation is different। ठीक है, तो जो इंसिडेंस ऑफ टैक्सेशन का क्या मतलब होता है कि जैसे जो टैक्सेशन जो है उसकी फाइनल इफेक्ट किस पे होगी। तो जनरली क्या होता है, टैक्सेशन की जो फाइनल इफेक्ट है वो डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस में सेम पर्सन पे होती है, पर इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस पे डिफरेंट पर्सन पे होती है। तो इंसिडेंस ऑफ टैक्सेशन जनरली फॉल्स ऑन in terms of indirect taxes on the larger population, but on the in the terms of direct taxes on very few people. So our very few people are there who are paying the direct taxes, so governments needs to increase this percentage, okay। so this is what another point is progressiveness in tax structure। प्रोग्रेसिवनेस इन टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर का मतलब क्या होता है, हमारा जो टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर है, आवर टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर इज प्रोग्रेसिव इन नेचर बिकॉज वी ट्राई टू मेक इट प्रोग्रेसिव। जैसे डायरेक्ट टैक्स है उसमें भी रिच क्लास है उससे ज़्यादा टैक्स लिया जाता है, जैसे जैसे इनकम घटती है ऐसे ऐसे टैक्स रेट कम होता जाता है। उसी तरीके से नेसेसिटीज पे रेट कम होता है, और जो लग्जरी आइटम्स होती हैं उस पर टैक्स रेट ज़्यादा होता है। इसी तरीके से क्या किया जाता है, इसे प्रोग्रेसिव बनाया जाता है। फिर अनदर पॉइंट इज नैरो बेस। आवर टैक्स सिस्टम हैज नैरो बेस। यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड विद द वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट इज income tax and wealth tax, only 1 or 2% people are paying these taxes, while most of the population is not paying the taxes. So in this way you can understand that what our base is very narrow, because वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन में बहुत सी कम ऐसी पॉपुलेशन है जो टैक्स पे कर रही है, क्योंकि one reason is we are poor country still, still we have a large scale poverty and unemployment, so that is why there is a narrow base for Indian tax system। उसके अलावा कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ इंडियन टैक्स लॉज। इंडियन टैक्स लॉज जो है जनरली दे आर वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स इन नेचर, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट एक साइड इसकी एक जो इफेक्ट है वो क्या है, कॉमन पीपल जो है जो टैक्स पे भी करना चाहते हैं वो कभी कभी इसके लिए टैक्स पे नहीं करते हैं कि इंडियन टैक्स लॉज दे आर वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स। दूसरा उसका जो बैड इफेक्ट है वो है कि ये कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी की वजह से कितने जो इंडियन कंपनीज हैं वो इन कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी में से कुछ लूप होल्स निकालते हैं और टैक्स को इवेट करते हैं. तो दिस इज व्हाट वन ऑफ द characteristics of India's tax structure, that is there is a Indian tax laws are very complex. Integration between central and state revenues, हमारे जो सेंट्रल और स्टेट रेवेन्यूज में एक प्रकार का इंटीग्रेशन दिखता है, क्योंकि आपको पता होगा, यू शुड नो दैट मेनी taxes are collected by central government, but based on the finance commission recommendation they are distributed among the state also. लास्ट जो फाइनेंस कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशन थी वो अराउंड 40% थी. तो 40% जो डिवाइजेबल जो पूल ऑफ टैक्सेस जो है उस वो कलेक्ट होते हैं सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास, लेकिन उसमें से क्या करना होता है, उनको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना होता है. तो 40% उसका जो शेयर है वो किसको जाता है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को. तो इस तरीके से देर इज अ इंटीग्रेशन बिटवीन सेंट्रल एंड स्टेट रेवेन्यूज. These are the very important features or characteristics of India's tax system that you should understand each and every characteristics. Okay. Friends, in this slide, we will talk about the limitations of tax structure in India. How the tax structure is, having a lot of limitations in our country. What are the limitations of tax structure in India? How it's working is affected, and how it is not working to the expectations of the people of India. These all limitations we'll see one by one. uh, let us see the first limitation, that is high rate and low yield of direct taxes. We can see that if you compare uh, the tax rates in India with other countries, our tax rate is generally high. Our average tax rate is high in both direct and indirect taxes, and still its tax rate is high, though the yield of direct taxes, that is the collection of direct taxes, is low. So that is very important point, that we have high rate of direct taxes in India, like income tax, wealth tax, but the yield is very low. There is a lot of tax evasion in direct taxes, and apart from that, because of high rates, uh, people are unwilling to pay the taxes. Okay, so that is one of the very important limitation. The second one is low contribution of income tax. If you compare the total tax revenue, and if you compare the income tax contribution, it's low. Okay, if you compare with other countries, our income tax contribution is low. Okay, uh, you will surprised to know that only 1% of our working population pay the income tax. That is the irony in India. So this has become very important limitation. The third one is double taxation of dividends. We have like double taxation in both direct taxes and indirect taxes. For correcting the problem of double taxation in indirect taxes, we have introduced GST recently, but still we have double taxation problem in the direct taxes on dividends. Actually, dividend is the income which the shareholders of any company will be getting, and this dividend, this is the income which is given. This dividend are given from the company's income. So on the first hand, company pays corporate income tax on this income, and then again the people who get dividend, they have to pay the personal income tax. So in this way there is a double taxation of dividends, and this double taxation of dividends is one of the limitation of our tax system. The fourth one is absence of agriculture income tax. In India there is no tax on agriculture income. As far as 90% farmers are concerned, might be it is good practice, because 80 to 90%, 85 to 90% farmers are poor farmers. They will not come into the tax net. But one, the only remaining 10% farmers have sufficient income to pay the income tax, and some of them, 1 or 2% of the farmer in India are having a very large income. 1% of the farmers in India might be very, very rich. So these farmers, in this farmers, you will find all the politicians. In this farmers, all the capital will be coming from this farmer for industry. So these farmers have a lot of income in millions of rupees. So these people will not pay the tax. That is a very big limitation of you know India's tax system. Uh, See, not having agriculture income tax not only is bad from terms of uh, tax base. It is also wrong from the base of inequality in terms of different sectors. Whether you have manufacturing sector, you have service sector, both are paying the taxes. People working in there, but people working in agriculture sector, even though their incomes are in crores, they are not paying the income tax. So this is a very big limitation. uh, Generally it is projected that agriculture sector and its people are very poor, but it is not the case. Might be 90% farmers might be poor, but 10% have the capacity, and might be 1% will be the farmers who are really rich and they can pay the tax. Not even 1%, then also whatever percentage it is, even if you see in throughout all the country, if 1 lakh farmers are crorepati, then they can also pay the tax now. What is the problem in that? So in this way, you can understand that absence of agriculture income tax is one of the limitation of India's tax system. Importance of indirect tax. Another point is there is a importance of indirect taxes for tax revenue collection. That is very important, problem, that indirect taxes are are given a lot of importance in terms of uh, or tax revenue collection, while direct taxes income is not coming up to the mark. So in this way you can understand that this importance is also a limitation, because as we depend more on indirect taxes, indirect taxes are generally, indirect taxes are regressive in nature, because they don't discriminate between rich and poor. They will fall on everybody in a similar way. So they are regressive in nature. So generally tax should be progressive in nature. Progressive in nature means, like direct taxes. Direct taxes, the people who are having more income or having income, they are paying the tax. The people who are having less income, they will be not paying the tax, or they will be paying the less tax. So in that way you can understand the tax system should be progressive, not regressive. And if we give more importance to indirect taxes, that makes our system more regressive. So in this way, it is also one of the limitation of India's tax system. Another point is progressive taxes on income. It is really needed that there should be progressive taxes on income, but this also becomes limitation in one sense. In one sense, remember, what is that one sense? Because the people who save and invest, those are the same people who are having more income. And once you are having more income, you if you have more taxes to pay, higher taxes to pay, then what uh, happens? There will be your willingness to work will be affected, willingness to save and invest will also be affected. So progressive taxes on income also become, you know the limitation for India's tax system. Another is India's tax system. The taxes are regressive in nature. They more or less become regressive because what means, what is the reason for this? Because uh, remember that we give more importance to indirect taxes. Okay, and in direct taxes we don't get much income and all means revenue, and also there is a lot of evasion of taxes. So what happens, middle class people will be paying the more of most of the taxes, and rich class will be employing CAs to evade the taxes, and you know the some sectors will not be paying the taxes even though they have a lot of income. So in this way what happens, we rely more on indirect taxes, the taxes on goods and services, and goods and services whosoever purchases, they have to pay the same level of taxes. So in this way it becomes the regressive in nature. So these all are the limitations of India's tax structure. You can understand high rate and low yield of direct taxes, low contribution of income tax, double taxation of dividends, absence of agriculture income tax, importance of direct taxes, progressive taxes on income, and regressive nature. These all are the limitations of India's tax structure. Students, in this slide, we'll talk about tax reforms in India. There are some tax reforms implemented in India, and different committees are formed to look into the limitations of tax systems, and to suggest reforms for tax structure in India. One of the committee is Rajaji Chalaya committee. So we'll talk about the recommendations recommended by this committee. So let's see. In 1991, the government set up the Tax Reform Committee under the chairmanship of Rajaji Chalaya to examine the then tax structure of the country and suggest appropriate changes therein. In its report submitted to the government in January 1993, it has made several recommendations for reforming India's tax structure. What are the recommendations? We will see one by one. So first one is lowering rate of taxes. Okay, and you should also understand that whatever these recommendations are suggested by this committee, we have implemented most of them. So first one is lowering rate of taxes. In regard to that, from 1991 to up to this point of time, we have lowered our direct tax rates as well as indirect tax rates. And you should understand that uh, this point by one example. I will give you one example, that in around 1976-77, the tax rate on direct tax, income tax on the highest slab, means mostly about 10 lakh income, it was around 95%, including cess and everything. So 95% tax rate means, are you understanding my point? uh, if you earn 1 crore rupees, 95 lakh rupees you have to give to the government as a tax, and 5 lakh you have to enjoy. Will you be willing to work in that scenario? Will you willing to pay the tax? So that is why there was a lot of tax evasion. So we have reduced the tax rates, and today the highest tax rates is 30%. Okay, highest tax rates, about 10 lakh income, we have 30% income tax rate. And in tax on goods and services also we have reduced. So in this way you can understand that the rates of tax have been reduced gradually. Okay, the second point is avoiding double taxation. Okay, avoiding double taxation means uh, you have double taxation on many kinds of taxes, like in direct taxes also I talked about double taxation on dividend. In indirect taxes also there were many multiple taxes in the past, and recently we have reform our indirect tax system, and we have introduced GST. The government of India has introduced GST. So GST is the biggest reform measure in indirect taxes. In that, double taxation problem has been solved. The okay, because it is based on value added principle, and value added principle, if tax is taken, VAT kind of tax or GST kind of tax is taken, so it is not causing double taxation problem. So avoiding double taxation was another recommendation, and that is also implemented, but in direct taxes it is not implemented yet. The third one is reducing corporate tax rate differences between domestic and foreign companies. So this is also one of the very important point, that there should be reduction of corporate tax rates between domestic and foreign companies, because that is why the foreign investment not coming into the system, not coming to our country. That is why the proposal was to reduce foreign corporate tax rate on foreign companies also. Okay, to rationalize it, so foreign investment can be encouraged. The fourth point is rationalizing capital gains tax. Rationalizing capital gains tax means, capital gains means whatever capital you invest your capital in share market or any other kind of market, there should be a rationalization for that. So capital gain tax was very high. So the committee suggested to rationalize this tax rate. Okay, and rationalization of wealth tax. Rationalization of wealth tax means wealth tax rate should be rationalized, it should be reduced. Okay, wealth tax should be reduced, and that there was a high wealth tax, so it should also be reduced. Tariff reduction means import duties should also be reduced. Import duties were very high on international trade, because of there was import duties were high, so that was the tariff reduction was suggested. Then the last point is rationalization of excise duty. Okay, rationalization of excise duty means excise duty rationalization, excise duty should be reduced. But here, in this all kinds of indirect taxes, we have implemented now GST, and GST is the main the reform measure for all kinds of indirect taxes. So in this way you can understand that many tax reforms were suggested in India by this committee, and many have already been implemented in India. Okay, this should be very very clear to you that many tax reforms are implemented in India. Okay, in this slide, students, let me conclude the tax structure in India related video. In this, what we have seen, then you can understand that we have already seen the features of tax structure in India. We have also seen the limitations of tax structure in India, and we have also seen the reform measures suggested by different committees, and we have already implemented many reform measures. One of the committee was Raja Chalaya committee, and this committee has already suggested many measures, and those reform measures were already implemented in India by different from time to time. Okay, so here I will read out the conclusion for you. The tax reform measures aimed at increasing resource mobilization, that is revenue buoyancy, and removing anomalies and distortions in the country's tax structure through restructuring, simplification, and rationalization of taxes. Tax compliance, both direct and indirect. Consequent upon reform measures, one finds a rising trend in tax revenue GDP ratio. So, whatever reform measures we have implemented by, restructuring, we have or simplifying and rationalizing taxes, also to, remove tax evasion through tax compliance, measures, both direct and indirect. What has happened? Our tax revenue GDP ratio is increasing. In GDP, whatever share of the tax revenue is there, it is increasing. So this ratio is very important for looking at the tax system in India. Tax GDP ratio is increasing in India, and that is a good sign. So we can conclude that in India, tax system have had many limitations, but we have already tried to rectify them, and the government of India step has worked well. So in this way, I'll try to conclude so you can understand these are all points. uh, okay, thank you so much for your patience and listening this video.